Welcome to Sushi, Sex, and Subtitles. This podcast creates a reflective and honest space for Black and multicultural families, single parent families, to explore raising kids in a non-traditional way, but within kingdom principles. We are a Christ-centered platform sharing stories that deserve to be heard, comparison, or apology. Through honest and reflective conversations, we explore the social, cultural, and emotional realities that uniquely shape single-parent households, offering language, validation, community, which is mostly missing, and ultimately healing from the inside out. My name is Angela Hunter. I'm your host. Thank you for being here. Come on, let's do this. I am so glad you are here for our very first episode. Yes, it is called The Art of the Journey. Our guest's name is Kim Isaiah. I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. Please follow her today. She is such an inspiration. Today, we're getting the first introduction to her. We're going to be learning about how she grew up in the editing room. I see right now that I'm not 100% professional, but I am passionate. I am passionate about single parenting, not just single mothers or just single fathers, but about single parenting. We need help. We have shared experiences, and I want this to be a resource, a faith-based, Christ-centered resource bank for single parents to come to get advice, to hear wisdom, to hear shared experiences, to see how others got out. I believe that can help us heal, that can help us transform our kids into living righteous lives, right? I believe that as a community, we have shared experiences. I believe as a community, we need to hear each other's voices. We need to be able to heal from past decisions and also learn from what we can do next if I've also made that same decision. I believe God can turn a mess into a miracle, and I want to give us an opportunity to help raise our children to become healthy, to help support us in the difficult times when we cannot see through the darkness. I want to be a voice of reason. Here we are, first episode, The Art of the Journey. Please forgive me. Not professional, but very passionate. Let's meet Kim Isaiah. They say that for a seed to grow, it first has to be buried in the dark. For the melanated single parent, that darkness was never a dead seed. It was a delivery room. The world might see a struggle, but we know the truth. We are the master architects of the ultimate comeback. We have lived the power of Isaiah 43:19. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. You spent years turning a one-income household into a sanctuary of abundance. You were the CEO of the kitchen, the dean of the living room, and the architect of the future you weren't even sure you'd see. But resurrection isn't just a Sunday morning story, it's a lifestyle. It's the moment you realize the new thing God promised isn't just for your children, it's for you. Self reinvention is the victory lap of the soul. It looks like the single mother who spent 2 decades being the anchor, only to realize she was also meant to be the sail. She's trading school runs for silk scarves and PTA meetings for Parisian sunsets, proving that your empty nest is actually a launching pad. She isn't just a mom anymore. She's a global masterpiece in motion. We aren't just making it through, we are walking in authority of Romans 8 and 37. Nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. You aren't just a conqueror of the bills or the loneliness, you are a conqueror of the narrative. To every parent listening, your sacrifice was the seed, but your joy is the harvest. Don't just survive the season, rebrand the soul. You're not a broken home, you are custom built. Now, it's one thing to talk about the resurrection and reinvention, but it's an entirely different thing to see it walking in a pair of heels. That new thing the scripture speaks of, it has a name, a face, and today it's wearing a style that only a woman who's traveled the world can carry. She's seen 7 continents. She's raised a visionary, and I consider her a style icon. While the rest of the world sees the highlight reels of her IG page, coffee, tea, or champagne, I've seen the heart, the grit, and the laughter behind the scenes. Our friendship has been in a space where we just don't talk about where we're going, but how we've grown. I could read her bio all day, but we're going to skip the formalities today. This isn't just an interview, it's a conversation between soul sisters. This moment today is so special to me because God can put he can put a seed inside of you, right? He can
Right.
put a dream in your mind. You can hear his voice audibly about what you're supposed to do. But the seed by itself cannot bloom. The,
That's true.
the seed needs water, it needs dirt, it needs the right temperature. It has so many different elements that it needs to grow. And I just want to thank you because you have been so many elements to me to start this podcast and to get things going. So I am just so honored that you would join me. I think it's just right that my first episode is with my biggest cheerleader, my biggest encourager of this project. And so I just want to thank you so much for joining me. Hand claps to
Thank to you, Angela, and I appreciate the invitation to be here, to be a part of this. And I certainly appreciate you inviting me. And definitely, I'm certainly going to remain being one of your biggest cheerleaders because you have certainly become one of mine. And definitely on this last journey that I just completed, I don't know that I could have had the spiritual aspect of this
you.
journey that I just indulged in and completed if you hadn't have been a part of my life. So I definitely appreciate that aspect and that possibility. And I'm grateful that you have come into my life as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to your journey. I'm definitely looking forward to staying on this path with you. And I wish you nothing but success, and I'm happy to be here.
Now, before we get into the champagne and the Australian sunsets, right? I want to talk about you as a young girl with 8 siblings, who used to read all these books to build a world that you couldn't see. So, how did being a part of such a large tribe influence your view of family?
Well, I'll try to go back. Let me see. I think what happened for me was, being raised by a single mom, 9 kids in a three-bedroom apartment. Uh, I'll always say I am the person, the woman I am. I have the imagination I have because of my mom. My mom worked very, very hard. I watched that. My mom always was compassionate. She was always a giver.
Mm,
And even though she was raising us nine children by herself, she
mm,
was always a sharer.
mm.
Anytime anybody showed up at our doorstep and needed her help or needed something, my mom never turned them away. And being raised with eight other siblings, you always have to find something of your own also. And then one thing that I found in our apartment that was my thing for myself, and I don't know if a lot of people will remember these things, was that those World Book encyclopedias.
Yes.
I
Ah,
was a reader and I still am a reader.
yes.
And those books gave me this imagination that I still have to this day. I indulged in those books. I indulged in movies. I was a TV kid like no other. Um, and those were that was my thing.
Yes.
And that opened up my thing for the world, that opened up my imagination. And I can still see myself as that little girl reading those books. So now when I get to take a journey, a real journey, I take those journeys as that little girl.
That's good.
Yeah, so I get to feed that little girl those visuals. I get to, you know, open up the world for real to that little girl who was reading those books, who was seeing those movies, and even now I watch a lot of travel shows and I get ideas from those travel shows and I and it still baffles me to this day that I get to do those things that I dream about and read about and even see as an adult when I watch those travel shows. So
That's amazing.
that's where a lot of the things that I still do now as an adult, that's where those things came from. So that was my thing that I gravitated towards as a little girl. That's not to say that my siblings didn't, use those books uh too, but they were mine
I understand.
still.
You know, in your mind, I'm gonna let you borrow that.
Yeah, they were still mine. You
That
can
is
have them for a
fine.
few minutes, but I need it back. They may have used them for homework,
Yeah,
those type of
I
things,
understand.
but they
Yeah.
were they were mine for entertainment.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I like within bonded with you about. It was because we had a set of encyclopedias when I was growing up, and
Mhm.
I just used to read them. Just
Mhm.
I'm bored, I can't go outside, whatever it may be. And I found myself reading the encyclopedia, reading a dictionary. My parents had these, they still have a lot. I think they still have the encyclopedias. I'm going to
Wow.
take a picture of that and put that in this episode because I believe
Mhm.
they still have those same encyclopedias that I had as a kid, mind you, at like 8 and 9, seven, just reading those books. So that's
Mhm.
amazing. So I know that you know, you mentioned your mother, and I couldn't imagine. How many bedrooms did you say?
3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms,
Yeah.
9 kids.
Yeah.
Like now we struggle because we're trying to um, give a kid their own bedroom, right?
Right.
These
Right.
kids today couldn't even imagine having to share space in that
Right.
capacity at all. And so your mother must have been amazing to be able to make it through. In the
Right.
moment, she
Mhm.
probably didn't know what tomorrow is going to look like, but she triumphed and she kept going. I love to hear that. So, how did your relationship with your mother define the type of mother that you wanted to become?
I think for I was an odd child because I was always the loner. I always for some reason, I was the explorer. Even as a little girl, early in the mornings, I would always leave, go explore the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Uh, I would be gone from early mornings and be back in the house So I was always that kid who was independent early on, and I was the explorer. I was never close to my mom in a way that some people may be with my mom, with their moms, you know. Not
Mhm.
to say that we didn't love each other. I was just always independent early on because I watched her be independent as far as raising us.
Yeah.
Always working, always making sure we were taken care of. We always had a roof over our head, food on the table. She showed us, she loved us, made sure we went to church. I mean, imagine getting us up on Sunday morning, nine children, getting us dressed, getting us ready for church, you know, doctor's appointments, always making sure we were taken care of, in that way. But I was always a loner, the explorer, always early on. So, and I guess and it carried over into my adult life because I did go off into the military.
Mhm.
And, so again, I guess my nature, it led into, like I said, it just led from childhood, adulthood, and still even on into this phase into my life, just the explorer early on. And now my relationship with my mom kind of flip flop because I feel like I'm more of not so much of her caregiver because she does live on her own. She's extremely independent, but I do spend a lot more time with my mom. We, I take her out to eat. I go to church with her now more now because I'm back in Houston. I did move away for a while. So our relationship actually now is a lot more closer now than it was when I was a child, or even in my young adult life than I would say as a child. So it's a lot different now.
I can definitely understand that. I would say my relationship with my mom was when I was younger, really didn't understand her. I
Mhm.
didn't understand why she made the decisions that she made for me or
Right.
why I couldn't do this or that. And I grew up in a household that wasn't very affectionate.
Wow.
And
Mhm.
so I had a sense of like, I had a sense of anything that my mother was, I was going to be different because I didn't really understand her. So I really rejected anything that she was, and I wanted to be the complete opposite. When I had my children, one of the things I said I was going to do was just show them so much affection. And I did. I kissed on them. I loved on them. I told them I loved them every time I seen them. They could walk out the room and come back. I love you. It would be kind of like that because I didn't have that growing up and things. Then it came to a point where I began to understand my mom more than I could even know, and the amount of empathy that swelled up inside of me for
Mhm.
her put me in a place where now, anytime I see my mom, I just want to bless her. As your
Mhm.
relationship has changed with your mom over the years, mine has too. And so now, instead of trying to be the opposite, I'm trying to adopt, a lot of the characteristics that she has now because she's such a woman of grace. She's a woman of God. She's a woman that just loves profoundly and
Mhm.
deeply. And I want the way that her children and grandchildren and great grandchildren love on her and respect her. I want to resemble that one day as well.
Right. I think for me and the way I raised my son, as far as the relationship with my son, I felt like um because I watched my mom raise nine children by herself, I kind of felt like since I only had one child and I watched her do that successfully, then I should have been able to do it successfully with one. So that's how I define my ability to be able to raise my child.
As you look at your life now,
Hmm.
and you've traveled so many places, and I know that you feel like, hey, I'm fulfilled those dreams that I was dreaming about as a young girl. What place have you went to? What country or what city have you been to where you really felt like you were inside of a book that you read?
So far, I would have to say Paris so
Mm,
far.
okay. So tell us more. Tell us more.
Well, let me figure out how to put it. Paris has always been a daydream.
Mm,
And even though I've been there, and I've been there 5 times, I just can't seem to stop going. Okay. And
okay.
I'm on my way there for a sixth time this fall. I'm going to take my niece there for her 40th birthday. It's just somewhere I cannot seem to stop going. It's a daydream, even though I've realized it. It's a daydream. Even as a little girl, when I would read about it, I still just can't seem to stop going. Mostly because now I'm at a point when I do go,
Hmm.
even though I feel like it's a daydream, it it feels like I belong there.
Ooh, I
I
love that.
belong there. Every time I go, I feel so welcome. It feels familiar now when I go. The people are kind. There's beauty all around. And again, like I said, I don't, even though I don't speak the language, I've been trying to teach myself French. I pick it up, I put it down, life gets in the way
Yeah,
as an adult with so many other responsibilities. But eventually I'll get to the point where I don't put it down. I will learn it. But it's like I said, even as a little girl, just reading about Parisian life and seeing the pictures but going there, the visuals, it just, like I said, it's getting to the point where it feels familiar and still feels like a daydream at the same time. I know that's hard. It may be hard for people to understand that, but you have to go. And plus, again, every place I've been brings out that little girl inside of me.
I love
Those
that.
little girl dreams come out every single time. And I love that feeling because I grew up in a place, and I would never say anything disparaging about my mom and how we grew up because I feel like my mom did an amazing job. She raised me. She raised me. She raised my siblings. She has grandchildren. She has great grandchildren. She has great great grandchildren. And we all love her. She's an amazing woman and she did an amazing job. So even though we grew up in what's considered a project, a government project, complex, we were fed, we were clothed, we were loved. We never had to move from place to place to place to place. As far as my aunts, my uncles, my cousins who lived in homes, when
Mm,
we celebrated holidays, we celebrated in that apartment.
yeah,
Everybody wanted to come to that apartment where we lived. So I would never say anything disparaging about the way I grew up. I love the way I grew up because again, it made me. My mom made me, and it turned me into a person who is going after her dreams by all accounts.
I love that. I don't think it's always just the environment that shapes you. It's the love that shared
Right.
with these
It's
people.
community.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
community.
that really shapes you. So now, how has we're just talking about your environment that you grew up in. So how did your upbringing differ from the environment that you created for your son?
I think for my son, the difference.
What a powerful start. If you know a single parent who needs community or to be encouraged, share this channel with them. Subscribe now so you don't forget where we're at.